All right. Hey guys, it's Heather here with Underwater Panther. I am testing out a microphone that I've actually had for probably 2 years. I've never used it, but I am hoping that you can hear me better. I don't know. I'd prefer to pick it up, but it turns red for some reason. I've been sitting here for the last half an hour trying to figure out what the colors of the lights mean. I think that you can hear me a little better. That's been my experience, so just let me know what you think about my new microphone, if you can hear me better or not. So I'm like afraid to pick it up, but I would prefer to. There's like a little cover that I'm supposed to put on it, and I can't find it right now, and it helps with the popping and cracking. But anyways, I have released, I think, 5 new books lately within the past 2 weeks. I have released the Temperament, the Elemental series for the 12 zodiac personality types. I tie astrology with psychology. So I've done the air or intellectual ebook and the fire or artisans, the earth or guardians, and the water and idealist ebooks. So I combined the 3 zodiac signs within each element. There are 4 through psychology, the background type that I do not utilize. And then I also released, that's 4 books. I also released the 12 personality types in one large book, and that's 109 pages. So for those of you that are interested in astrology and psychology with the personality types or the archetypes, I have done nutshell ebooks. So my typical ebook is about 150 pages or so. I think my largest one is like 200 pages. So I'm focusing on the sun sign or the ego throughout the 12 personality types. And I have recently also released the Libra or Entp ego book. So that is 6 ebooks that I have released within the last couple of weeks. So I'm kind of on a roll here. Now I am working on comparing Libra or the Entp with Scorpio or the INFP. I did release the Libra book, and I'm working on releasing this book next because we have transitioned from Libra season into Scorpio season, and I wanted to compare the two together. After I get these videos done and release this ebook, I am going to release Scorpio and start focusing on Scorpio videos. So I've been very busy on this channel and plan on being very busy on this channel for some time. So my microphone is flashing red. I don't know why. So hopefully to goodness that this is working and you can hear me well. All right, so I did a video last night comparing the thinking and feeling between Libra and Scorpio. Scorpios have extroverted thinking child and introverted feeling parent, and Libras have introverted thinking parent and extroverted feeling child. So they're flip-flop between the thinking introverted and extroverted thinking and feeling. And then they both have extroverted intuition hero and introverted sensing inferior in common. So I am going to go through the temples. Scorpios are a part of the soul temple, and they are philosophers. Libras are in the heart temple, and they are considered crusaders. So there is the body, heart, soul, and mind temple. So there's 4 temples within the 12 personality types. And the 4, so you break things up into 4s. There's a lot of 4s. So right, let's jump into this video. Let's pray that my audio is working a lot better. Hopefully it is. So this is a trial and error type of video with audio. All right, so both of these types, the Libra and the Scorpio, are considered the pathfinders. Like I said, Scorpio is a part of the soul temple, and they are a philosopher. I have already uploaded a video on the soul temple personality types, which is Capricorn, Scorpio as a dyad, and then Pisces and Aries as a dyad. Those 4 personalities are within the soul temple, and I have already released another ebook on that. That is actually 7 ebooks that I've released. I forgot about that one, so I have released that video as well as ebook for the soul temple personalities, and I'm going to go over that a little bit here for Scorpio. But if you're interested in the 4 soul temple personalities, Scorpio, Capricorn, Aries, and Pisces, how that breaks down, you can check out that video. So Scorpios are part of the soul temple, and they are philosophers. Some more, they are both considered pathfinders. Some more keywords for Scorpio. We have the advocate, mystic, alchemist, detective, sorcerer, hypnotist, chemist, psychiatrist, witch, investigator, fortune teller, and guardian. And then Libra is a part of the heart temple, and they are a crusader type. More keywords for Libra. We have the visionary, the rogue, lawyer, counselor, socialite, lover, peacemaker, creator, seductress, flirt, minx, designer, and mediator. So they are the shaman pathfinder types. And this really goes into play with their extroverted intuition hero and introverted sensing inferior. With the NE hero, they are both pathfinders due to the fact that they are extremely opportunistic. They can see many paths forward, and they are extremely good at strategizing. They're both very intellectual, and they are high opportunists, and they can help people find good ideas, inventive ways, creative ways to get out of things or get into things, whichever. So the shaman, they are not the alpha or the chief of the village. Shaman types can be considered more feminine because they're kind of like the medicine man or woman. Both of these types. Extroverted intuition is a feminine cognitive function, and they are both informative in their primary interaction style. And so that means that they like to talk. They like to hear themselves talk. They are storytellers. They have very good memories. They can remember everyone's names, dates, family tree, all the information, history. They know that history repeats itself. And so they pay high attention to detail, and they can remember those things. So they are just as respected as the shaman, but they can always dip out and move on to the next village. They are responsible for the spiritual and mental or psychological health of the village or those around them. And this is kind of funny because statistically cults are ran by Scorpios. I've looked into Jim Jones. I absolutely love criminal psychology. I have always loved getting into cults and understanding murderers and just criminal investigation. I have always loved to dive deep into those kinds of stories. I want to know why people do what they do. And it's funny because politics, you can kind of guess where a person leans politically due to psychology as well as criminal activity. There are patterns everywhere if you just take the time to look. All right, so extroverted intuition needs a fixed place in time and space, and introverted sensing, all that has happened before will happen again. So any extroverted intuition hero is about metaphysics. They can prognosticate the future and give others different futures. They see others as predictable. They can see into the desires of others. And they tend to both store human actions and behaviors that become predictable algorithms with their introverted sensing. The more you expose yourself to these personality types, give them information, the more predictable you become. And they can change others' fate or future. The more experiences they gain through personal experiences or reading with introverted sensing, the fixed point, the more they can potentially give you what you want with extroverted intuition. All right, so I didn't bring my notebook out for the heart temple. Actually, let me just pull up my notes. Give me 1 second. I wanted to get into that, and I didn't put that in here like I thought I did. I saved it on my computer somewhere, and I don't know where it is. Great. New ebooks. Maybe it's under the new ebooks. I saved it under temples. I'm not seeing it. Let me see if I can look it up. Temples, there it is. Okay, here we go. Okay, so Scorpios are a soul temple philosopher. The soul temple is all about self-identity, character, immaterial, spiritual, abstract slant. The soul is about passion and is directly linked to understanding who we are. So it's all about self-character development for the soul temple and testing others' integrities. So the soul temple is all about self-identity, character. I talked about the cognitive origin. Scrolling through, here is Scorpio. Here we go. All right, so the philosophers, Scorpio and Capricorns, they are academically inclined to discover secrets to success. They craft a world to share beliefs, ideologies, and reputation through laws, religion, and science. Philosophers are all about civic duty, politics, and volunteering to strengthen their voice. They want their opinion desired. Through hardships, they establish rules and guidelines. They can tend to create random arbitrary rules and expect others to follow them. They know rules dictate human behavior. So extroverted thinking with Scorpio passes tests due to being worried about dictating perceptions. They care about their own comfort and happiness, not others with introverted sensing. They can tend to be selfish, self-absorbed for their own gains. They will sacrifice other humans to aggrandize themselves or talk down to or bad about others. There's a lot of grandstanding or duking it out with others to see what's actually good and bad. Know they can earn their own way through life. And in the extreme, they can destroy culture through communism and say that I was just following the rules or really creating the rules. They need to remember to take the meaningful path, not the expedient path. So the 4 poles of justification, so their cognitive origin within the soul, or the philosopher, the soul temple philosophers, it is all about justification, and that they are the arbiters of justification through law and order, and they do care about authenticity. An understanding perspective understands others' viewpoints to see if they are or not justified in their behaviors and intentions. So Scorpios can be the most subjective of all the types. And the 4 poles of justification is absolution, wrath, discrimination, and impartiality. I'm not going to get into this too deep. I already have in my prior video. But they're all, absolution is about removing guilt by demonstrating why someone was justified in what they did or intended. Wrath, punishment through hellfire. When someone isn't justified in behavior or intention, they suffer the consequences. Discrimination, they can be very hard on their own bias, so that's where they are extremely subjective. And then their aspiration through justification is impartiality, so that is the purest form of justification. When they can actually become unbiased as possible, they tend to gather the facts at this stage and base decisions, law, order, rules on facts rather than biased feelings. So that is a little bit about Scorpios as a soul temple philosopher. And I actually have not, I have notes on the heart temple. Let me pull that back up. Where did it go? Why did I lose it? I literally just had it. Where did it? Temples. There we go. So I haven't broken down the heart temple like I have the soul temple yet. That is also on my list of to-dos. I do have some notes on it though. I'm trying to find it here. All right, so Libras are part of the heart temple and they are a crusader. So the heart temple is actually very masculine internally. And they ultimately want to be free, which makes them the most masculine, and they want to help alleviate the suffering in others' lives. They tend to be on a treasure quest. The heart wants what it wants, so it's all about passions and desires and wanting to be acceptable. They're on a treasure quest, finding the right people and mission to invest in. The deadly sins with the heart temple are envy and vainglory. We also have Aquarius and Leo in the heart temple. So their passion of conviction is motivation for self-sacrificing, for enduring pain and suffering for a cause. And that is their mental justification. They really tend to subjugate others. They bend the knee. It's the survival of the fittest. And they will assert their will regardless of adversity. They bend chaos to their will by pruning off the dead or unfair because of justice. They tend to passionately go out of their way to be the most fit so that they can climb to the top, survive and thrive. And the heart temple follows the Sith code, all about passion and fairness. The Sith code is through passion I gain strength, through strength I gain power, through power I gain victory, through victory my chains are broken. They have an addictive covetedness, strong desire for something that belongs to someone else, and it is a very painful awareness, so they can really get into spite and envy. Libras can. Envy is when you want what someone else has and you actively strive to take that away from somebody else. And that's fueled by perceived injustices over who deserves what. They can feel deep spite for what others have. And they need to learn to use compassion and choose to see the sources of pain and misery and incompleteness in others' lives instead of focusing on the envy of the things people possess. So it's all about fulfillment at the end of the day. Compassion is to suffer with others and themselves and learn how to alleviate that suffering. Their purpose is revealed. They want to help heal others, and it tends to be harder to heal themselves with the extroverted feeling. But in healing others, they feel healed themselves, and that causes satisfaction. All right, that is all I'm going to say on the Crusader, the Heart Temple Crusader of Libra. But they both, in their own ways, are the shamans of the village, focusing on the spiritual and mental, psychological health of the village or people around them that they love. All right, so now I'm going to get into the extroverted intuition hero. For both of these types, I'm actually going to check my audio real quick. I am 22 minutes in, so I'm going to check my audio and then splice this together. Okay, the audio is so much better. I just checked my 22 minutes of video. My camera is extremely crooked now, but oh well. I am excited about the audio. I almost want to do the prior video all over again, but that was about an hour and a half worth of work, so I'm going to keep it as it is and edit that in my app to bring the volume up. But I'm going to continue using this microphone. I think it's a lot better. Let me know in the comments below. All right, so now we're going to get into the hero cognitive function for Libra and Scorpio. They both have extroverted intuition hero. So what is the hero cognitive function? There are 4 sides of the ego. You've got the hero, parent, child, and inferior cognitive function psychologically within an ego. And then astrologically, you have the ruler, exaltation, left field, and fall. So you will see the 4, everything is broken up into 4s. All right, so what is the hero cognitive function? We develop this normally around ages 1 through 12, and the virtue is humility, and the vice is pride within the hero function. The hero is the strongest, most dominant, and well-developed function. Our autopilot, the hero function, is the most capable, comfortable, doesn't cost much mental energy to use. So there's no real energy being lost here. It's the hardest to challenge, especially introverted functions within the hero, but we are talking about the extroverted here. Let's see. The extroverted functions are initiating, and the extroverted, I'm not going to say that part. I'm going to actually edit that out. Well, introverted functions tends to take longer to break down and process things, and the extroverted functions tend to make decisions quicker. So the hero is linked to the inferior function on a cognitive axis. The hero feels obligated. What happens to the hero happens to the inferior function. We need to develop the parent function within the ego for a sense of responsibility, and the inferior if we want a higher level of consciousness. We have to get our hero together in order to make our lives flow smoother, but the hero has inherent pride. The hero is prone to getting stuck in extremes and can take over the ego to the point we become unconscious practically. So I like to use the analogy that when you're driving down the road, you go on autopilot. The hero is a very autopilot function because we are so good at it naturally. So it's like when you get in your car and you drive somewhere that you've driven 100 times, you kind of go on autopilot and don't remember driving there. So the cognitive attitude of the hero function within the ego, it is an optimistic function, so it doesn't take much energy to use. The attitude of the hero is bravery, conviction, courage, determination, helpful, honesty, inspirational, moral integrity, protective, self-sacrificing, selflessness, strength, competent, and confident. So the hero inflation, we can tend to get stuck in extremes, like I said. And just because it's our dominant function does not mean it is always doing good things for us. We can have a lot of blind spots here. Okay, I think I hammered that enough. All right, so what is extroverted intuition for Libra and Scorpio within the hero? I am so excited about this mic. I wish I would have pulled it out earlier. I had to buy 2 different... It's actually plugged into my phone, and so I have a charger cord plugged into an adapter that plugs into my phone, so it was kind of a process. I thought it was Bluetooth, but it's not. Anyways, what is extroverted intuition? It is all about metaphysics, our future, prescience, and all futures. It is on the extroverted intuition, introverted sensing axis. I'm going to get into introverted sensing after this. So it's intuition, conceptual information based on sensations, tangible info, how one adapts ideas in the physical realm, how we gain stability through exploration. They try to find stability in their concrete experience through SI. And if they feel that, then they're able to explore further with extroverted intuition. So no fire signs have extroverted intuition and their top 4 cognitive functions within their ego. That is just a side note. It is a objective, intuitive perception function. So it is based on what we see. If you observe a probability, you're more likely to make it happen. So we can think of quantum mechanics. It's about novelty, potential energy, what might be, collective unconscious, becoming aware of conceptual information, exploring merging patterns, pattern recognition, metaphysics, prescience, all futures and possibilities, the what if, sense of what people want. So they are very in tune with what other people desire. Sense of what, I just said that. And then they can read trends very well, especially within history. They can remember all the dates and they understand how that works. It is a very mysterious function to a lot of people, especially those in the psychological community. Carl Jung initially called it the collective unconscious. So it's about the what if and future that we can sense. Metaphysics is very biased against this function because of the 4 temperaments. Intellectuals and idealists, also known as intuitive. It is seen as a feminine function, all about possibilities for all and theories, can see into the futures of others, all about pattern recognition. And they can do so from experience and gathering experiences, can sense what people want, can divert futures, can send people down good or negative paths. The shaman, you got to think about the shaman. It tends to be a passive function. So it can also be unrealistic and all over the place. So extroverted intuition is about interpreting situations and relationships, picking up meaning in interconnections, being drawn to change what is for what possibility could be, noticing what is not said and threads of meaning emerging across multiple contexts, exploring the emerging patterns, generating possibilities, discovering new possibilities and meanings. NESI, so memory, time, or history. Seeing past behaviors, events, can see further into the future, anticipates events, patterns, and human behaviors. Behind the scenes realm, behind sense data, scans for relationships and patterns within a pool of ideas, facts, or experiences. It doesn't push for closure like TIFI, rallies for more possibilities, options, alternatives, can be in a state of perpetual openness or indecision, remains open-minded, sees truth from both sides of an issue without forming premature conclusions. They can be very good listeners and well suited to act as fair and effective arbiters. Can hamper productivity and follow through because they can tend to chase too many rabbits at once and lose both rabbits. So they are extremely high opportunists. So we have the advocate for Scorpio, and the Libra is considered the visionary. So they have expansions through connections. creative, exploring, mentally wants to learn, but can be afraid of putting themselves in new situations. With introverted sensing, both these types, they tend to not feel comfortable in their own skin, and they're afraid of new experiences. It depends on how one was raised and nurtured, but that can be an issue. Capricorns also have this issue. All right, so Scorpios have extroverted intuition hero, and the quotation here is, I'm heroic with what others want. So they have Mars and Pluto in the hero cognitive function. So I'm going to break this down astrologically now for Scorpio. So astrologically, the ruling planet, what does that mean? The feeling of a planet within its own sign is one of ease. It feels comfortable to be home. It feels relaxed and unconcerned in its expression. It does not feel challenged at the same time, often reflecting attributes that are thought to be conventional in that realm of life. So it truly is amazing breaking down astrology and psychology, because the ruling planet goes right along with the hero cognitive function. All right, so what is Mars? Scorpios are ruled by Mars. Mars is all about intentions, passions, motivations, desires, goals, day-to-day goals. Unlike Saturn, ability to do and follow through with something, and maturity, ambitious, competitive, warlike, courage and brutality, attacking and destroying, aggression, primal sexual energy, whether we address challenge or not, through our responsibilities, joy of adrenaline, adventure, potential, excellence, and mechanical aptitude. And eventually they do get discipline over their body, but not initially. So when asleep, Mars is aggressive. When waking, it's harnessed action. And when awake, very heroic. And then we also have Scorpios co-ruled by Pluto. So Pluto represents facing our subconscious fears, deep vulnerabilities, deep internal transformations. So it's everything Mars, only deeper. Deep willpower, deep passions, deep motivations, everything on Mars, but in longevity. Mars is about today. Pluto is about the rest of the month. Pluto revolves around power and control with transformation in one's life. We have to have these battles in order to truly understand what our deepest desires, powers, passions, motivations, and willpower are capable of. It can be about deep secrets and abilities, and it is the dark feminine energy. So when asleep, Pluto is megalomaniac. When waking, transformations, and when awake, it's about spiritual will. And then I broke down Mars and Pluto even deeper. I'm not going to go through that here. Yeah, I'm not going to go through that here. So then now I'm going to go into Libra with the ruling planet of Venus. I'm just wanting you to see the differences between Libra and Scorpio with their ruling planets, because Scorpios are extremely warlike, very passionate, intense. You know, everyone says Scorpios are so intense and deep, which I can definitely agree, but they're not going to be intensely communicating their emotions. They're not actually, although they are a water sign, they are within their own emotions and feelings, not others, and they tend to definitely not communicate that with anyone. They just brew within themselves. Now, that is Scorpio's slant. So now we're getting into Libra, and Libra is ruled by Venus. So Libras come off as much more charming and lovely and more relatable. Scorpios are not as relatable with people emotionally, especially, but Libras are. So what does Venus represent for Libra? Okay, so Venus is the god of love. When asleep, it can be hedonistic, waking, seeking harmony, and awake, aesthetic. It represents love, lovers, appreciation, our values, and how we relate with others. Looking at Venus in our birth chart can tell us what kind of lovers we attract, how we relate to the opposite sex, where does your creativity lie, your ability to love and share. Also reveals who and what we value and how we express that appreciation, how we receive what others are saying. Venus symbolizes all that is love, pleasure, passion, beautiful, graceful, charming, and tasteful, enriches our senses with delightful flavors, smells, sights, sounds, and sensations. Social graces, harmony, friendships, adornment, kinds of amusements we are drawn to, and what ways we spend our money. Venus's creativity urges us to value and accumulate objects, ideas, experiences, and how intensely we are attracted. It rules over our capacity to express affection and to enjoy beautiful things, and what kind of sex appeal we possess. And also Venus, I don't think I wrote that here. I'm kind of surprised. I did somewhere else. But Venus also has a lot to do with business and making money. It is a planet that we can look to understand what we should be doing in our careers, what is actually going to make us happy, and where our gifts lie in order to share that with others. So it's a very business-oriented, what we are passionate about and good with our gifts. And both of these are actually, I would say, very business-oriented. They want to be their own boss, but they just do it in different ways. So Scorpios have Venus in left field, which I did explain that in the prior video. And Libras are actually ruled by Venus. So the negatives of Venus can be temperamental, self-indulgent, treacherous, and spiteful. And this reminds us of the heart temple crusader with Libra. They can tend to be very envious of other people. Rules over love affairs can be narcissism, extremes in feelings and emotions, so erratic, unable to control them. And the darker side, the even darker side of Venus, irresistible charm can entice and seduce, and so poison our happiness. Our need to have, to possess, may become so intense that it is impossible for us to let go. Makes contentment impossible. Only in letting go and appreciating and knowing without grasping and needing to have, we can find true lasting happiness. Now, Scorpios are extremely, their vice is depravity and their virtue is charity. So Scorpios can be very deprived and just crave attention all the time. They can never get enough attention, and they're not going to actually tell you that this is a thing, but it's like a dark void that can never be filled. And that is a deep, deep thing for Scorpios that I don't think they really truly understand. And then Libras, how it plays out for them is that they can always be wanting to make more money, gain more material success. They both are extremely entrepreneurial and striving personality types. All right, so I've got even more on Venus, but Libras can be very jealous and vengeful, extremely. All right. And Libras are considered the glamour casters. They're very charming but very masculine underneath. And they're very persuasive talkers. Both of these personalities are very persuasive talkers. It's funny because Scorpio's keyword is the hypnotist. And it's hilarious. I've noticed that Scorpios, they tend to, at odd times, they will like get you into a verbal contract and you won't even know what's going on. They're very seductive and hypnotizing in their own dark, secret way. And then Libras, I mean, I don't know if they're more overt with their covert contract or with their contracts, their verbal contracts. I don't know. They both can be like serious smooth talkers. I'll put it that way. Now, Scorpios can fall away from communication. But Libras, on the other hand, loss of communication feels like loss of love for Libras. They can be very posh, keeping up nice appearance, physically and clothes, refined and pleasant, has electricity of Taurus. Taurus is ruled by Venus as well, so they are always wanting to please the five senses: fine wine, fine environment, fine neighborhood. And they can have an underlying prejudice here, and usually unfavorable evaluation or classification of other people based on the person's perceived personal characteristics. So they tend to label people and dismiss others. And they can be very materialistic from time to time. They love beautiful flowers, glamour, dressing up, things like that. They can be all about quality and status. Now, any hero for both of these types, they want what others have. That can be a thing. They don't know what they want. Introverted intuition users, which I am, introverted intuition is my hero. And the introverted intuition heroes or users in general, they tend to know what they want. It's all about what their goals are. And then any heroes, they can tend to not know what they want. And so they can tend to help other people with getting to where they want to go, but I don't know. They're both extremely entrepreneurial, so that's not going to play out long term, in my opinion. So Libras are natural seducers, charmers, but they can be very deceptive. There's nothing gentle about them. So up front, both of these types are very, I would consider it feminine. They're informative within their communication style, and they are dominated by introverted or extroverted intuition. And so up front, they're very feminine. You're like, man, they draw people in with their sexual and charming seduction through their communication. Both of these personality types communicatively are very sexual and seductive, but it's also their physicality. They both are just beautiful, beautiful people normally. But they both can also mask their masculinity very well. They both have diabolical intelligence that builds here. Libras tend to have that more externally shown than Scorpios. Scorpios can tend to plunge other people into fighting and don't care about emotions at all. It's kind of like a vampiric sucking energy from other people. And both Libras and Scorpios can talk at you, not with you. So they can both use emotions and an intellectual intelligence to gauge others immediately, and uses emotions against other people as well as smarts. So they're both very opportunistic, and they're going to be gauging you intellectually and emotionally and see how far they can push people. But on the positive side, they are there for people putting emotions aside, and they can help others see opportunities others cannot, and put things, especially emotions and actions, needed to be taken into perspective. So they can help other people take emotions into perspective and guide them through the process of how to get to a goal. Show others what opportunities they have that they potentially do not see. Libras are the shapeshifters. They tend to put on masks. They put on that they are innocent and naive, but they definitely are not. They're very strategic. They are actually the ultimate strategists. They use charm through communication and are the ultimate conversationalists, and have extremely good long-term memory for details, probably better than anyone else. They can step into other people's mind frames and talents, and can literally impersonate, but even better than others. They see others' gifts and use them as their own. It's an amazing thing. If you really want to see this as a prime example in somebody, T-Pain, the artist, the singer, T-Pain, check his YouTube where he covered some artists, their songs. He does the artist songs better covering them than the original artist. It is absolutely amazing. Just, it's phenomenal. So they tend to take an action of others, pretty it up as their own, box it up, bottle it up, and sell it better than the person who had the gift to begin with. And I don't know if Scorpios do that out front more like Libras. I would say Libras do that more out front. So Libras can be indecisive with what they want. They don't know what they want. They will put on a mask for others to people please, to help others get to where they want to get, and then whiplash you with plans, even last minute cancel. So yeah, Libras can cancel plans. Libras and Scorpios, I'm going to say this right now, if you make plans with both these personality types, they will cancel on you last minute. So that is definitely a thing that they both do. And Scorpios do that based on their mood, and Libras do that based on their other opportunities. Both of these types, I would say Scorpios are probably a little bit more mechanically inclined, and I know that because my father is a farmer, and I know some other Scorpios that are mechanically inclined. But Libras are not, definitely can't take a hammer to a nail, and so they tend to hire other people to do the dirty work. Both are good at wheeling and dealing, but Libras can get screwed over more than Scorpios due to the extroverted feeling, people pleasing. Yeah, Scorpios know the value of things deep down. The value, like the value as in the economic value of things. And Libras can be like smooth talked into doing something, buying something that doesn't have the high value like they are told. So Scorpios definitely have a higher defense when it comes to wheeling and dealing because they do actually understand the value of things. Oh, yes. Also, Scorpios, they can judge people's character a lot better than Libras. Libras have a hard time filtering through good, bad people. The judgment of character is definitely a thing. I think that has to deal with introverted feeling for Scorpio. Scorpio is a lot better at judge of character as well as the value of things. So Libras can tend to get scammed more. All right, so I was going to get into the fall with introverted sensing for both of these types, but I'm going to have to do that tomorrow. It is getting late, and I have now 2 videos, probably about 2.5 hours of editing to do. I am loving this audio. Hopefully this has worked the entire time. Let me know if you like this audio better. Like and subscribe. I appreciate all of your likes and subscribes and purchases with my ebooks. I have recently literally published 6 books. This will be my 7th comparing Scorpios and Libras, and then I will move on to Scorpio. So I'm on a roll. It feels great. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your love back, and I will see you in the next video.